What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Will Brinson. I'm your host. It is Saturday. It's a Saturday show. The season must be here for cranking out more than 5 shows a week. It's Saturday, August the 14th. There's some preseason games on. We've got some bets that we made in some of those preseason games. Go check out the preseason preview podcast. If you just look for the bets, as I told Wilson before, you can follow. I'll post all the ones I bet on in the Action Network app. Verified, no big deal. And I will also, you can also, they're at the end of that podcast. So if you've already missed, all of Friday's action, you're trying to find out what we bet on, fast forward at the end of that Friday podcast. But go download it and fast forward. Of course, that is in the feed as well. Coming up, we'll have a weekend recap, but this is a mailbag. John Breach is gone. It's just me and Ryan Wilson. Wilson, what's up?
Hey, and hey.
So while we're here, we got to welcome, technically, I believe, if you're okay with it, we got to welcome a new member of the podcast, CBS Sports podcast family to the family. And that is Fantasy Football Today DFS. Yes, that's right. They didn't have enough Fantasy Football Today shows. They have Fantasy Football regular, Fantasy Football Today regular, Fantasy Football Today in 5, and now Fantasy Football Today DFS. Get ready to dominate daily fantasy this year with optimized lineups, stacks, perceived roster rate. Got to change that, Debo. Leverage plays and more. Join Frank Stanfield, Mike McCarthy, and Sia Najad 2 times weekly in the FFT DFS feed. The first 2 episodes dropped last week and are important listens to get you ready for the season. You can download and follow the Fantasy Football Today DFS podcast on Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, and wherever else you listen to FFT. I will be downloading that because we will be playing a lot of DFS this year.
Okay. Brinson, also, I think breaking news for the Pick Six podcast that we will not have a DFS episode in the feed this year, but we will have something to replace it.
Well, that makes sense that we would not have that, I think, because it would sort of take away from what they're doing, right?
Should I tease what is replacing the DFS episode?
Sure. I'm excited to tell the people, but you can tease it instead if you want.
Is it a Brinson-focused tennis podcast? Because that's what I'm hoping of.
Our friend of the podcast, Greg Rosenthal, does as a tennis vanity project as well.
I think people should just get used to hearing a little bit more from Pete Prisco. I'll say that.
Nice.
But does that mean that Pete is gonna?
He's the new host of.
Are you making fun of me or making fun of Pete here?
He's making fun of you.
I'm actually just giving information.
I thought you knew the answer, Brinson. You acted like you knew the answer before Debo said something.
No, I was being sarcastic. I have no idea what it is.
Oh, nice. Get a real life reaction of Brinson not loving the idea of more Prisco on his podcast.
Well, it depends. Is it Pete hosting? I guess it's a win either way. I either get to talk to Pete, which is fun. I like Pete, or Pete takes over a day and I don't have to. And that's how Pete. Yes, Steve.
This is part of the contract negotiations at this point with Pete. If he wants it to be his own thing or if he will allow for Brinson to be a part of it. Because, of course, he will be on our pick show on Fridays. That's a Pete Prisco staple.
So just to be clear, Pete has demanded his own podcast because I antagonized him so much on that text thread about it?
Yes.
I can't give away too much as we're, like I said, contract negotiations. You don't want to give too much. This is out there for public consumption.
I love that, from my understanding, just on what Debo's just said, that Prisco is demanding that Brinson be off his own podcast so Prisco can host it without Brinson being there.
So here's what happens Pete is constantly trolled by myself and Jamie Eisenberg, and then Nick Costos, our old friend, chimes in to make fun of him because it's like, we'll be like, a podcast. Look what podcasts are doing at CBS. Podcasts are huge. Podcasts of the future. You're just an old man with that occasionally does video. You are, you're the little, like we call him like a kangaroo because it's like they tell you what to do. Hop, buddy. And so this has been driving him nuts. He's like, if I wanted a podcast, I could have a podcast. Oh, I could have my own podcast. No problem. Watch. I will ask for it. It will happen. And so I assume that he has gone to management and been like, I need my own podcast once a week.
Well, it looks like it's coming at your expense. Joke's on you.
Look at that. Wait, I'm not. I mean,
now is Prisco going to wear the HQ shirts that the company paid for or not on the podcast?
I probably should. I don't want to reveal too much about this text thread, but Pete apparently got a bunch of a bunch of CBS Sports HQ. He had told people at the office that he was planning on losing weight this all season, and so he was like, "Give me, X size or whatever." And they sent him to him. He can't wear them because he says the arms are too small.
I love it.
The arms are too small.
My arms are now in my stomach. They're too small.
Anywho, let's.
All right. Well, that's fun. I can't wait.
Yeah. Well, all right. So, no. I guess it's a win-win for me. Either I get an extra bonus day of talking football with Prisco, or I just get a day off. I wouldn't mind a day off.
Yeah. Add it to the list of days off that you get already every week.
Wait, but so Pete would be the Thursday show, I guess, or the Wednesday show?
We're working on it. The schedule will look somewhat similar to last year, but expect some changes. Expect a little bit of a shake-up to the rotation this fall.
All right. What, Wilson, what's the over-under for number of weeks until I have to take over for the Prisco show?
5.5, I think.
Yeah, that's about right.
I think it's 5.5.
He ain't doing it.
I just got too much on my plate. Like, they want me to do this video. I'm doing picks on Monday. Did you make the picks so early? Who makes the picks so early? And then I've got this podcast because Brinson's too lazy to do 5 days a week. So maybe.
And they blame it on me somehow. That's what'll happen.
That's right. I think you know how this plays out. The script is already written.
I hate it when we start hearing Diva's like, what was it like last year? Diva's like, by the way, you're now going to everything's on video. It's like, and it's worked out fine. Video is fine, but it does require a lot more hats.
Yeah, because the hair plugs aren't grown in yet. I get it.
This hair plugs thing is not acceptable.
I agree. I wish you didn't get them.
This is all natural, baby.
Yeah.
I won't press the dunk button for you.
And
you also while since this is a Saturday show, we're gonna get to some mailbags questions in a minute, but we can be as loosey goosey as we want going into this. Crack a beer. I would like to point out that this little crew that Debo runs with, and I'm not going to name any names, but you can guess who it is. The office gossip at CBS is out of control. I'm told it all funnels. It might all be Jamie Eisenberg, honestly. It all funnels through Jamie. All these different little text threads with producers and stuff like that, and they love to gossip about all of us.
It was just very eye-opening when I tossed out a bet. Loser has to shave their head, and Brinson, beyond any normal response, you could just say no, but it was just a little over the top that got people thinking even more about these hair plugs.
Exactly.
But why would I? If I had hair plugs, I would be fine with shaving my head, right?
No, it takes time. You know that.
I don't know anything about hair plugs.
Sure, you don't.
The hair plugs thing is funny. What's insulting when people accuse me of dyeing my hair.
No,
how is it that your hair is this long and this wavy and this completely free of gray hair? What is going on?
They accuse you of dyeing your hair plugs.
It's just not a thing. Also, there is some office gossip about Top Shot.
What's that?
That I blew a bunch of money on Top Shot after I won it on DFS. It's like, what are we doing? What are we talking about here?
Yeah,
I think Top Shot didn't work out perfectly.
I think people are more concerned about the wig, but that's just my guess.
Yeah, possibly. I just don't. I think, and then that's where the office gossip is what gave us the Prisco arm shirt. I mean, it's just constant guy. I think it's possible that people make jokes about stuff, and then Jamie Eisenberg and maybe Debo floated out into the world as if it's reality.
All right, take your hat off, tough guy. Let's see the hair plugs. Let the locks flow. 100% chance that's not real.
I mean, I can't hear you right now because I don't have my headphones on. But
yeah, your hair plugs are in your ear. You can't hear me.
That's hair plug TikTok. Ryan, you have your things on TikTok. Brinson is big on hair plug TikTok.
It's preposterous. Stupid as shit.
I love it. Like I said before we started recording,
I'm not entertaining.
If you repeat it enough, people will start to believe it. And that's my mission for the 2021 season. Convince everyone that Brinson has hair plugs, including himself. Like, I want you to wake up in the middle of the night going, wait, did I get hair plugs or
not? That's possible, I guess, that I could wake up in the middle of the night and be confused with myself.
You see Debo's response.
All right. So let's
just for the not to be secrecy. Debo said, I don't know if we're further or closer to landing a hair plug sponsor. I feel like we're closer. I mean, if Brinson has a chance to not pay for the hair plugs, I feel like he's going to go lean into that.
That's possible, I suppose.
Yeah, like how long, Brinson? How long do they last? I mean, we were asking some very naive tattoo questions last week on this podcast, but at least because none of us had tattoos. But when we're asking hair plug questions, you at least should have some answers.
I got no answers. In fact, Wilson would be the one that would be answering because he is the bald one who may have explored possibilities of remedying that.
Well, the funny thing is, you are like my kids in that you're not going to lose your hair at any point. And I make fun of my kids all the time. It's like, you're going to look like this one day, bald.
My mom's dad, Daddy Pat, R.I.P. obviously, had a full head of hair when he died in his 90s. So
that's the thing. You're fine.
It ain't going anywhere.
Which is why it's weird that you got hair plugs anyway. But my kids are fine too. But they come back to me now whenever I make fun about anything. Is like, yeah, but you're bald. So you're taking the same tact as my kids. And look, I've embraced my baldness. I haven't tried to cover up the fact that I don't have any hair by getting hair plugs. And you've chosen a different path, and I'm okay with that. So, all right, mailbag question. What number one? I can't wait till someone asks. Debo, at some point soon, I hope we can do an all hair plugs mailbag. I'm looking forward to that day.
Send them in.
You guys are clowns. All right.
Hey, Benson. Speaking of clowns,
let's get to the mailbag. Can't do it like Breach. Hey, Benson. Love the pod. Super fun to listen to while working. My question is this. This is also he titled it. Josh Bretzing titled this the Steve Young NFL podcast, aka the Real Goat. Wow. My question is this: if all the bird teams came together to make a super team and played another super team made up from all the NFL cat teams, which team would win? So
that's a great question.
As Debo is, I took this as who would win between the actual birds and the cats, not who would.
Oh, that's funny. We can do both.
Create a team.
No,
that's why I didn't bother writing down a roster. Debo did a roster. I took it as who would win a team of Eagles, Falcons, Ravens, Cardinals, and Seahawks, or a team of Bengals, Jaguars, Lions, and Panthers.
All right. Well, let's do your question first. First of all, what's a Seahawk? Is there a Seahawk in the wild?
A hawk of the sea. Yeah.
A seagull? I mean, what's a hawk of the sea?
No.
There's no such thing as a hawk of the sea. David Attenborough over here.
You don't think a Seahawk is real? Dude, it looks like a hawk, but it's near the sea. Dude, they're big and badass.
Hey, just stop before you say anything else. Let me have 10 seconds here. You just said you don't think Seahawks are real, so I literally just Googled hawk of the sea. First thing that comes up, there's no such thing as a Seahawk. Oh, what's the source? SmithsonianMagazine.com. So, okay, you're right.
So in other words,
that's
so they're a mythical bird. That's even better. Superpowers.
Oh, nice save there. Okay, so we'll just take off the.
It's just a hawk. It's just a hawk that lives on the coast side.
Yeah, I get the name. I have the name. All right, so Eagles, Falcons, Ravens. Are they doing anything? Cardinals are doing. Cardinals are just bait. Like Cardinals are providing nothing in terms of defending themselves from. Especially cats. So the Bengals,
right. The Cardinals are easily the weakest of
the cat team dominates. I mean, it's a bloodbath. Like it's not even close.
The Eagles, the only thing putting up a fight. I mean, these things they can fly like 200 miles an hour. I feel like,
and that's it.
They got they would be able to largely get away from the birds.
It's got to be in a cage. I mean, it can be in the cage.
It's got to be like a cage football field.
The cage should be 80 feet high. I don't care, but I mean. You got Eagles, you got a Falcon, you got again two like city birds and Ravens and Cardinals, and then you have a stuffed animal Seahawk.
City birds.
Yeah. I mean,
this is a bloodbath.
Cats are a prohibitive favorite. But then as we go to the rosters, I'm putting the bird team like they are 35-point favorites.
Okay, wow. So let's get to the heavy lifting. Debo put together the actual.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Debo. I was not aware that we needed to actually put together a bird team.
For the fact that we were able to answer this question in 45 seconds tells us how much thought you put into it. You didn't get past let's see what happens with these.
I was like, that's a cool question. That's it. I was like, I didn't even think about rosters.
But Debo did the heavy lifting. He actually included the human players that would be involved in this matchup. So let's see what we got here.
And I'll be curious to see for the bird team just how Eagles heavy it is.
No, just heavy on the right side of the offensive line.
That's right.
All right.
Russell Wilson, the quarterback. That's huge.
Weird. No Joe Flacco there. Okay.
Good options, though. I mean, you got Kyler, you got Lamar, Russell
Yeah.
Wilson, Jalen
Wow.
Hurts, Ryan.
At running back, you have Chris Carson. I actually think that's a good opportunity to use Miles Sanders.
I know. Yeah, I was thinking maybe a little Miles there, actually. But he's on the depth chart.
Yeah, he's number 2 there. DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, DK Metcalf. Woo, boy. That is some wide receivers right there. Kyle Pitts at tight end.
Even to the offensive line. Look at Debo.
Offensive line, Ronnie Stanley, Kevin Zeitler, Jason Kelsey, Brandon Brooks, Lane Johnson. There they are. That's
60%.
That offense is cooking with effing gas.
There you go.
Defense, Grady Jarrett, Fletcher Cox on the interior of the defensive line, J.J. Watt and Calais Campbell shoring up the defensive line, and Debo Wisely added Chandler Jones as an edge player in there. Bobby Wagner, Patrick Queen also at linebacker, and then Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters, both Ravens, of course. Buda Baker, Jamal Adams. That team is really, really good.
That's a Super Bowl team. Like that team is
Really
really
remarkably good.
So that's the good news.
That's just a Pro Bowl team.
The human birds are much better than the birds in this matchup, it looks like. So let's see what's on the other team.
On the all cat team, reminder,
Jesus.
that's Bengals, Jaguars, Lions, and Panthers.
I mean, this is a clunker out of the gate here. Go ahead.
Wow, Trevor Lawrence could be great. Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow. You're going with one of those guys at
Wait,
quarterback.
one of your quarterbacks here is never taken a snap, and the other one played 10 games because his knee got blowed up.
Yeah,
Versus Russell Wilson.
it's not a great start. Christian McCaffrey at running back, no brainer there. DJ Moore, DJ Chark.
Oh my goodness.
DJ
Man alive.
Old DJ Kitty Cat spinning records at the club. Jamar Chase.
Another rookie.
Is
Again.
this real?
You could throw in Tyler Boyd if you want a little experience. You could throw in some others, but it's not Robbie Anderson.
Before you finish reading this list, Brinson, I'm going to posit that this human all-bird team, the best chance for the cat team is they actually get real Bengals, Jaguars, Lions, and Panthers to play, put them in uniforms. Because this group ain't going to do it.
TJ Hawkinson at tight end is very nice. Cam Robinson, Andrew Norwell on the left side. Frank Ragnow at center. Big V. How do you pronounce it, Devo?
I just put that in there so you could read it.
I know you did.
Halapuli Vadi Vaitai.
Nice.
That is the former Eagles player. That's the only reason Debo knows how to pronounce it, who is now on the Lions. And Taylor Moton round out the offensive line. That's not a bad offense, but it's not keeping a pace with the
No, there are a lot of questions in this offense. Like, is Trevor Lawrence good? Is Joe Burrow healthy?
Well,
is Christian McCaffrey healthy? Is
I've
TJ Sharp?
I've got some bad news because the defense is basically the Panthers defense.
Who you got?
How is that? How are there's just no defense for these teams. This is again, Debo put it together, so send complaints to him.
But wait a second though, you have to understand
at Halaputi Vaitai on Twitter.
the Bengals, Jaguars, Lions, and Panthers combined for 4 wins last year. So that's why this team stinks. I mean, that's the problem.
You could actually trade the Eagles to the cat team, and the bird team is still kicking their ass.
And the cat team is substantially better.
Yeah, the Eagles would make the cat team better. That's how bad the cat team is.
Send the Eagles and the Falcons.
Hassan
Eagles and the
Reddick,
Ravens.
DJ Reader, Brian Burns, Josh Allen of the Jaguars, obviously, are your
Even Josh Allen of the Bills, it doesn't matter.
That's right. Romeo Aquara, Jamie Collins, Joe Schobert, J.C. Horn, Shaq Griffin, Jeremy Chin, and Jesse Bates. Yikes! That defense is bad.
We got a lot of first and second year starters on this. Both.
35 might be about right, Debo. I mean, that Russell Wilson led offense with Nuke, Ridley, and Metcalf,
and an offensive line that'll protect them. I mean, that's the big thing.
Is putting up 65 points on this.
Chris Carson's running for 3,000 yards in this offense.
It's crazy that Breach thinks the Bengals are going to be like an 8-9 win team when we can't even put together an all-star team with 3 other teams and they look like a 4-win team.
Yeah, take that. Breach getting dunked on from 500 miles away. Take that, Breach.
So, yeah, I mean, this is a bloodbath, right?
Good question. Like I said, you got to get the real animals in the uniform, and that's your best chance.
You get to watch a bunch of birds murder.
If we did the all-time teams for the Bengals, Jaguars, Lions, and Panthers, it's still probably like close to the birds.
All-time team for the Jaguars, Lions.
So like Ken Anderson.
Yeah, Ken Anderson.
Barry
Sanders.
Sanders.
All right, so the all-time team for you have Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Get Cam Newton, you get Matthew Stafford, you get Mark Brunell if that's your jam.
Oh, yeah.
You
So
get
you look Cam Newton or Matthew Stafford. You
get Anthony Munoz on the offensive line. Who's Pete's guy from Jacksonville that he keeps wanting to get in the Hall of Fame? What's his
No
name
one,
again?
Bobby Lane. Tony Baselli.
Tony Baselli. You get him. Oh, you get Jordan. What's Jordan's name? The offensive lineman for the Panthers. Brinson that retired a few years ago.
Gross.
Jordan
Yep,
Gross.
Jordan
Thank you. All right, maybe you can cobble together something. You need the all-time teams. That's for every one of these teams to have a chance.
Yeah.
You get Fred Taylor. That's nice. Ooh, you get Barry Sanders. We got to go way back.
Yeah, so you can put something together there. That's a good team.
Yeah, they're the all-time team for those. Yeah, they're beating up on them.
Barry Sanders might be the best running back on this team right now, as he is, as a 55-year-old. Just kidding. Christian McCaffrey. Jimmy Smith.
Steve
Hey,
Smith.
that's a good question, Josh. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a great question. All right, let's move along. Brady chasing Bill. This is from A. Cochran 459, the Apple Podcast. Love the pod. Listening to you guys talk about Tom Brady winning more rings than Bill Belichick, and I'm wondering if he gets too old to play anymore. Do you think he'd try for an OC job so he could continue to beat his old coach? Are there any players in the NFL now you could see moving to coaching after their careers? Who would you want to play for? Sorry, that's a lot of questions. That's not a lot of questions. Sorry, that's a lot of questions. Feel free to leave off some if you'd like. Thanks, guys. Keep getting after it.
I feel like Tom Brady probably is. He's like too handsome to go into like the grind of coaching. He's going to do something.
He's just going to, he's going to do his nutrition stuff.
He's just something glamorous. Like, he's got a glamorous wife. He's got a glamorous life.
Yeah.
It would be hysterical though if he took the OC job just to.
Well, remember after the, what Super Bowl was it when Giselle wanted him to retire? Yeah, that sort of came out.
That's the one they lost to the.
They lost the Eagles.
Eagles, I believe. Yeah.
Finally, a good memory for Debo. It's been about 3 years. Right, Debo?
I thought you were going to play a button.
He's trying to, but he's coughing to death.
Coughing us, yes. No.
Benson having a coughing attack.
Benson. He's we call me Benson for.
No, I don't see him.
I think it would be a tough sell for Tom Brady to Giselle after refusing to retire for an extra 10 or 12 years and playing on, for him to be like, I'm sticking around in the NFL.
Because you actually spend more time in the office as a coach than you do as a player. Like, at least as a player, you can go home and watch film. You got to do all that crap at the office for the most part as an OC. And that's a grind, that job.
Yeah.
I don't even think Tom Brady ends up in the front office, but I feel like Peyton Manning's next steps, should he so desire, would be some sort of front office gig.
I don't know that Peyton's going to do it. Maybe he will, but Peyton's had his opportunities to do front office stuff and he's not doing it. Well, I'm interested about the Peyton and Eli stuff on that alternate Monday Night Football telecast.
I think it's going to be fun.
That's going to be awesome. But is it going to be, is that the future?
Well, I mean, Barstool's doing some of that stuff, right? Isn't that what they're sort of planning? Like that type of broadcast? I think they have a college game coming up now.
Yeah, they stole our college game.
The Chick-Fil-A Bowl, is that what it was?
No.
It was one of those bowl games.
It's the only CBS bowl game that we had.
Which one was it?
The
Arizona Bowl.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
What was it before though? It was something else.
I don't know. But the point is that we'll see. I mean, we'll see if that's something that people want to consume. I think Eli and Peyton could be good, but I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah. As for guys, I mean, look, Phillip Rivers, I know.
I was wondering, like with 7 or 8 kids, how many? Like how old's the youngest? Because I mean, if he wants to wait till they get through high school, he ain't gonna be doing it anytime soon.
Gunner is on the team. Gunner's the oldest. Is on the team that he's, and that's the oldest. He's on the team that he's coaching now, I believe.
So the youngest one is
the youngest is like a year or two old.
I was gonna say at least 8+ years younger than that, and maybe
I think there's a chance Rivers only coaches high school football. NC State fans like want him to come back and be the state coach. That's it's not happening.
Well, like JT O'Sullivan coaches high school football. He's not Phillip Rivers in terms of his career, but he played a long time in the NFL, and he seems to enjoy the balance of doing that and doing other stuff. And if Phillip Rivers wants to do other stuff that's family related, then that gives you much more freedom.
I think Phil's dad coached high school football his entire career. I think that's just what he's going to do. He's just going to coach this one team, win a ton of titles, and never have to deal with.
Again, I mean, you get your summers off. You're not recruiting. You run practices in August.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to deal with the stress of you're not getting fired from a high school coaching job.
I would.
Yeah, I mean, parents can be a pain, but it's a lot different when you're
not when you're a famous former NFL quarterback.
I was going to say, I would venture to say, like, no Hall of Fame quarterbacks really ever, at least somewhat in the modern era, like, have ever gone on to coach. Like, you're talking Marino, Montana, Moon.
Like in NBA,
like there's no Kurt Warner.
Like when Larry Bird coached, didn't he get frustrated because basically no one was as good as he was, and you got tired of trying to make players better than what they could actually become.
Yeah, he kind of just committed to like coaching the Pacers for 3 years. He made the finals in the last year and then he left. Like Magic Johnson was not a good coach. This is true across sports where like the better you are as a player probably means the worse you are as a coach.
Right. The less you understand about what it takes to get the most out of marginal talent. I think that sort of goes to your larger point. I agree with that.
And they have higher aspirations, like you said, of LeBron doesn't want to become an NBA coach. Like he wants to own a team down the road.
So yeah, let's see. So in the AFC East, Sean McDermott played in college. He wasn't anything. Played at small school. Played at William Mary.
I do know the stat right now is six head coaches right now out of the 32 played in the NFL, and 2 of those only had like short cup of coffees, which was Sean Payton and Cliff Kingsbury, and then 4.
Sean Payton played in the NFL. I didn't know that.
I want to say like late 80s, maybe like a strike season.
Yeah, that's what it was. You're right. Okay.
But Frank Reich, Mike Vrabel,
yep,
had solid careers. The other 2 would be
Pete Carroll didn't play. Bruce Arians didn't play. He played in college. Ron Rivera is one of them.
Rivera, who had a very good career,
and Dan Campbell.
Fisher.
And
Dan Campbell. And again, none of those guys were superstars. Like they were, like Ron Rivera was a important part of the Bears team, but he wasn't Walter Payton, for example.
No, I mean one of the last superstar players turned head coaches was Mike Singletary, I think, and that did not work out well.
Yeah, no, that didn't. Oh, Jason Garrett, he's OC now. Yeah, but Jack Fisher's not around anymore. Jeff Fisher, Jason Garrett's the OC, but he was a head coach and he was a backup, but he wasn't obviously a starter. And Doug Peterson too, who's obviously not out of work right now, but he was last year. Again, just a backup. So
by the way, we're selling this. I'm selling this Pete podcast thing. I'm probably going to end up screwing myself here by having to stick around and talk to him. But selling it as I asked for a day off and Pete's my fill-in. Pete's the guest host for the day I want off.
I thought that's what Pete was trying to sell too.
Yeah, I guess if you look at it like that, he's like I get a day off and Pete gets to fill in for me.
Yeah, that's how agents sell it to their clients.
Yeah, it's like no, we got you a podcast. We got you a single once a week podcast. Debo, would they give him his own podcast within?
We can brand it as, and I've teased it for like months now as kind of a joke, but we can tease it as like the Learn the Game Day, and it's Pete take over the feed.
I'm saying they wouldn't give Pete his own day, his own podcast.
But don't tell him that. He doesn't know. He won't understand that.
No, but I've told him that. He's like, I can get my own podcast if I want. I'm like, no, they won't.
No, I've told him that.
Yeah, like they're not giving you your own podcast because they know you won't do it. But they'll give you this day to Learn the Game Day, and then after 5 weeks, when you quit doing it,
I'm bringing in Tony Baselli again.
Anyway, sorry. Back to the head coaching.
Yeah, you're worried about this.
No, Pete just started texting me. I said people are talking. Pete begged for a podcast, and he said people are talking all right.
Brinson's trying to set up those Wednesday tea times. What are you talking about, Wilson?
No, he has hair plugs first thing, and then he goes to the tee box.
Got you.
You can't ride. And by the way, Debo, you can't ride in the golf cart after you get the hair plug procedure, so he has to walk on those days, which he gets really bummed out about.
He's got a caddy. Don't make any mistake.
He's got to wear a visor.
Anyhow, all right. You guys want to keep talking about these coaches? I was looking at them.
We talked about it while you were worried about your future, so we can move on. That's a good question. Who would you want to play for? Well, I don't feel like any of these guys are going to end up doing it. If you had to play for Aaron Rodgers, I'm not going to say Philip Rivers. Because say Philip Rivers, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. Who's one more superstar we could throw in there? Ben Roethlisberger, just for fun. Who do you want to play for? And you are a tight end. You're the second string tight end. Who do you want to play for?
Give me Rodgers. Smarmy.
I just feel like he'd be exactly. He'll be a jerk to you. I think I'd rather play for Peyton. He'll be nice to you, even though he knows that you stink and he may have to cut you. Like at least you can have a decent.
Yeah, Peyton would be the guy. Yeah. I guess that's true. That's fair. You're Tim.
Right.
Who do you want cutting you if you're Tim Tebow? All right. Next question. I think Washington is pretty overrated. This is a lengthy one from DevLat95, but we read all the reviews here. One second while I take a sip of my delicious drink. Hey guys, I'm a huge Cowboys fan. Oh, there we go. Who live in the DMV area, and I enjoy listening to the show. Obviously, living in Maryland, of course, watching and listening to the show, I see there's a lot of Washington love right now. But honestly, I think they're overrated and overhyped right now. Ryan Fitzpatrick has literally never been consistent as a quarterback, especially for an entire season. And I don't see how that magically changes in year 16 in the NFL. The defense, while it probably will be very good, could be just like the Rams defense of the mid-2010s, filled with first-rounders, but held back by the QB on the offense. With that great defense last year, they only won the division by one game, and by the way, this is me saying it, but they won 7 games, while the whole division suffered massive injuries. Washington also cannot beat the Giants or the Cowboys when Dak plays. I just don't think Fitzpatrick changes that. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he's benched by the time they play the Cowboys. Hello, hot take. I know he was good last year, but he was basically pulled before he imploded like he inevitably was going to do. It's the story of his career. Love the show. Devin from MD. Also, I think Mike McCarthy is a pretty good coach. I've seen metrics saying he was good in certain circumstances last year, but it's been mentioned that he hasn't won a Super Bowl in over a decade, and Sean Payton hasn't won one since the year before McCarthy and had 3 7-9 seasons in a row like he's Jeff Fisher and only one NFC title game appearance since their Super Bowl win. I still think Sean Payton is a better coach, but McCarthy gets too much heat in my opinion. That is a lengthy review, but an interesting topic to take.
I mean, the worst, I'm trying to think of the word, the most painful part of this thing is having to tell Sean Payton that someone compared him to Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, that's true.
So here's what
Brinson's definitely texting Prisco right now.
Yeah, he's not paying attention.
Look at his face.
Yeah. He's worried about losing his job, which he should be, but he should have thought about that months ago, not just now, but that's just me. Here's what I always say when I talk about the NFC East and Washington and Ryan Fitzpatrick in particular. Like, I think the defense, and clearly DevLat95 addressed this in this comment, but I think the defense is so good that they can overcome Ryan Fitzpatrick, his spurts of interception, the interceptions he likes to throw. Because that defense, Taylor Heinicke actually did a really good job in the playoffs, but that defense carried that team for much of the season. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is an upgrade over Taylor Heinicke and certainly over Dwayne Haskins, who they got rid of. And I think he brings some level of consistency to an offense that includes Curtis Samuel, who's currently out with a groin injury. But once he gets back, then Terry McLaurin, then Antonio Gibson. They have Logan Thomas, the tight end, who they just re-signed. I think there are a lot of reasons to be excited about this team's prospects. On yesterday's show, we talked about the Dak Prescott MRI concerns. So, that's real. And I don't know what the backup situation in Dallas is going to look like if they're going to go with one of the 3 remaining guys in the roster, go somewhere else. But wherever it ends up, if it doesn't include Dak, that's a problem. That defense is also a problem. We don't know how good they're going to be. I suppose they'll be better. How much better? We'll have to wait and see. Micah Parsons is great, but can he do everything? I don't know. So I think me, Breach, and Brinson all are on Washington to win the division. Brinson may have since changed, but
no. I bet Washington win the division.
But as you noted, Brinson, they went 7-9 last year.
Yeah, they weren't a good team. They were dead last in the NFL in DVOA on offense. Dead last. They were the worst offensive team in football, according to Football Outsiders.
Well, they can't get worse then.
That's sort of the thing. And they added a lot of really nice pieces. Curtis Samuel, they added free agency. They draft Samuel Cosme and De'Ami Brown. Terry McLaurin is heading into his 3rd year where I think you can reasonably expect some big things out of him. They bring back Brandon Scherf on the franchise tag. Fitzpatrick is just an upgrade. I get what Devlat's saying, and he's not wrong. Fitzpatrick is not consistent. Fitzpatrick loves to YOLO. Fitzpatrick is not the type of guy that you think is just going to take you over the top and win you a title, but he is a massive upgrade over anybody that Washington trotted out last year. We all agree on that, right?
Yep.
For instance, Ryan Fitzpatrick checked out in what do we like? We like is it DYAR, right? Yards per, is that what you like for the old metric?
DVOA is value per play, and DYAR is total value. So
all right, let's do value per play.
Yeah, that's not a cumulative metric. So you can
that's probably a better idea. So Ryan Fitzpatrick finished 16th in DVOA last
level.
year.
That's great.
He is exactly. He is average. If you had to guess, where do you think Dwayne Haskins finished last year?
He finished just below whoever's dead last, I would guess.
That is incorrect because he was dead last. Would you like to guess where Alex Smith finished last year?
25th.
one spot ahead of Dwayne Haskins, next to dead last.
Okay.
I don't believe Taylor Heineke had enough snaps to qualify, or they were all in the postseason. In other words, Washington had the 2 worst quarterbacks, according to value per play, in the NFL last year. And that's sort of the thing with Fitzpatrick. When we hype Washington up, it's not that we're suggesting Fitzpatrick is going to be a top 5 quarterback. He's not going to be. He's not going to be a top 10 quarterback, more than likely. But if he's an average quarterback for Washington, that upgrades that offense so significantly. Antonio Gibson's looks much better in his second year. And that's sort of the rationale between for the Washington hype. But I get it, man. The Dallas could be. It's possible that Mike McCarthy is still a good football coach. And if he is, and Dallas is, rolling on offense and they can get something going on defense, then there's no reason to think that the Cowboys can't win the division and go deeper. But I feel like the gap between where Dallas is and where Dallas needs to be versus where Washington is and where Washington needs to be and what they need to do to bridge that gap to win the division and win 8, 9, 10 games I think the gap is a lot shorter for Washington.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I think there's less variance in the floor and the ceiling for Washington than there is for Dallas.
And look, defense is less consistent year to year. Advanced analytics have told Football Outsiders have been suggesting this for a decade, over a decade now. So it's possible that the Washington defense could take a step back.
Sure.
And that
what's the chances that the Dallas
randomly decent?
Well, what's the chances Dallas' defense goes from hard to watch to even average? I mean,
I think you're more likely to see. That's the thing. You're more likely to get the leap from worst in the league to average from Washington's quarterback play and offense than you are from Dallas's defense, I think.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
I don't know if you haven't watched it yet, but Hard Knocks from Tuesday, you should check out. Do you remember in the Atlanta, was it Mike Smith or Dan Quinn?
I can't remember.
Oh, now I can't remember.
What
Have we seen Dan Quinn on Hard Knocks? Because he's saying the F word a lot he said an F word a lot in the Cowboys Hard Knocks.
Oh, it must have been Dan Quinn because I feel like he had to apologize to his mom, perhaps.
Okay, so you're right. It looks almost like it sounds exactly the same because I remember seeing Dan Quinn in that Falcons thing. You're like, why is he forcing all these cuss words? He doesn't sound like somebody who should be saying these. And it's the exact same thing with the Cowboys. He's saying the F word a ton, and they're not good F words.
Oh, that's funny.
Like he doesn't know how to cuss right.
So he's saying like Frankfurter or something?
No. He's like
formaldehyde.
He's talking to Micah Parsons on the coat for the coach's box. No, and he's saying effing.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't sound like it belongs coming out of his mouth or in the sentences.
Gotcha.
So
okay. Well,
an unnecessary swear word user apparently is Dan Quinn.
So take that into consideration, DevLat95, when you try to predict how many games the Cowboys are going to win. Dan Quinn does not use the F word properly.
and look, like I'm not saying that the Cowboys can't win the division. They're the favorites to win the division. If they get 17 games out of Dak Prescott, I think CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, and Michael Gallup are going to have huge seasons.
Let me ask you this: if you had to take, you can do the odds because you're good at doing the odds on this. You can take the Cowboys or the Ravens to win their respective divisions, or you can take Washington and Cleveland to win their respective
Washington
divisions.
and Cleveland all day.
Yeah, I think so. You're going to get better odds, and I think they're both going to win the division.
You're parlaying them, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take Washington and Cleveland all day. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, more mailbag. New approach to the QB position. Jen's HBM says, hi, thanks for the excellent podcast. You kind of remind me of South Park with the jokes and chemistry you share. I know where this is going. Brinson is Cartman, obviously. I mean, I guess that's true. Breach is Kenny. That kind of checks out. Wilson is Kyle. Debo is Stan. And Sean Bleep is Butters. Was Butters even around when you quit watching South Park?
I had to look him up. It's Leopold Stotch is his real name.
Yeah. I was like, hi, everybody. I'm Butters. He's like a naive little doofus who they pick on.
Yeah. Poor blank.
Yeah, Debo could be Stan.
I love being Kyle. I'll take that.
Yeah. That checks
It is
out.
sort of funny that the serial killer is actually Kenny.
Yeah. Or that the bald black guy is the redheaded Jewish kid.
The voice of reason, I think, is more the.
Yes, I know. It's just funny. It's funny to picture you dressed up as Kyle. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Well,
That didn't land,
at least
obviously.
I'll say it again. At least I've embraced my baldness. That's. I'll leave that there for you.
You think Cartman has hair plugs? To the question, over the last 15 years, a top 5 quarterback that year has won the Super Bowl twice. Eli both times. The others have been top 5 paid quarterback. The others have been quarterbacks on rookie deals or proven starters around top 10 paid, and then Nick Foles. I used over the cap as a source. Could you see teams trade their franchise quarterback rather than giving them a big extension? The Browns could, for instance, trade Baker after the season and get maybe 3 or 4 first-round picks for him and keep the 40-something million he's probably going to get. They can make the team solid to go after a top QB in the draft or trade for Matt Ryan or Aaron Rodgers. I bet the Eagles would love to go back and use this approach with Wentz. They would probably give up more. They would probably give more up and down seasons, but maybe more Super Bowls in the end. What do you think about this approach to the QB possession? Best regard, Jens from Denmark.
Oh, nice.
Would it be Jens? Jans?
Could be Jens. Yeah, I don't know.
So we've talked about this some on here before.
So let's see. So they would have to pick it. Next year's his 5th-year option. Right. Yeah. So next year's Baker's 5th-year option.
Baker's played 3 years.
He's going into year 4, and
he's eligible for a contract now. He's played 3 years. Next year's year 4. And then
he said he's not talking about the contract, but they could very easily just pick up his 5th-year option and roll with that, and then decide.
They've already picked up his 5th-year option.
Sorry, right? They don't have to redo his deal.
They have Baker under control for 2 more years, and then at the end of his 5th-year option, they could trade him potentially.
Well, no, you can't trade him after the 2022 season because he's gonna be a free agent. You have to trade
him and then trade him.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, so but it would be easier to trade him after this coming year. If you wanted to go that route, look, we talked about this when they gave Jared Goff the extension. You, I believe specifically said, why are they doing this? You don't need to pay Goff. Just trade Goff and draft another quarterback in the first round and let Sean McVay work him.
But I think, I did say that. But you and I talked about this last week when I went back and looked at Goff's numbers. They were actually pretty impressive in terms of the advanced metrics. And I think Baker, me rewriting history, I feel like Baker's a better option for a long-term deal with Goff. That could be very, very wrong about that. But to the point of Jens' question, I'm going to call him Jens. I think it's a good one to ask about why doesn't this happen more often? And the only answer that I can come up with is that finding a quarterback is so incredibly difficult out of college. Like, you just don't know what you're going to get. Even if the hit rate was like 60% on these quarterbacks, like even if you knew you were going to get Justin Herbert / Joe Burrow, some combination of those guys when healthy, 60% of the time, that I think you would see these quarterbacks traded much more often. If you're going to get a Carson Wentz or a Russ Wilson on their rookie deals who take you to a Super Bowl and you can build around those guys 60% of the time, then you're doing it. I think more likely, probably 15% you get these guys. And that's why you just got to pay them. And that's why every year or every so often, every time the quarterback contracts come up, unlike every other position in football, it's just next man up gets paid 1 cent more than the previous guy, unless you're Patrick Mahomes.
The other part, so there's 2 aspects to this I think are worth discussing. One is Tom Brady skews this so badly because Tom Brady took less money than everybody else and won 6 of those last 10 or 15. How many Super Bowls did you say? Last 15. Yeah, last 15 years, Tom Brady won 6 of those Super Bowls. And so when you start doing the average on that, it ends up becoming, you're like, oh, you got to get a guy who takes less. But, we mentioned Aaron Rodgers won one of those Super Bowls. List of Super Bowls. I'm just trying to think what the full list of guys involved here. So you have
Peyton Manning won it the year he left in 2015.
And also Tom Brady did it with 2 different teams, by the way. So Tom Brady,
I think Brady would only be 4 of the past 15, though.
Maybe 7 of the past 15. Oh, you're right.
Because 3 were before 2004.
That's a good call, T-Bay. So Mahomes. So Brady cheap, Mahomes rookie deal. Brady.
No. Yeah, you're right. Mahomes got paid this off. Gotcha. Yep.
Yeah, so he was still on his rookie deal. Foles, but with Carson Wentz on your rookie deal, which is notable. Brady cheap. Peyton Manning was expensive, but not really the reason they made it there.
But he was still he made $25 million, whatever it was.
He may have taken a pay cut that year too. Then Brady cheap, Russ rookie deal, Flacco rookie deal, but Flacco was
what?
Well, he made the bet. Like, hey, look, I'm going to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, but it's still a rookie deal though.
Yes, but they should have paid him before, and then they wouldn't have gotten boondoggled by the cap. So that's a little weird situation. Eli, Rodgers, who had already been paid, Breeze had already been paid, Big Ben had already been paid. Eli,
Big Ben in 2008,
2009 was definitely not
2008 season. So he was drafted 4, 5, 6, 7, may have been the 5th year. I don't know what the CBA was back then.
They didn't have
The
5th-year options then.
Okay, so then he must have been just re-signed.
Ben got a big contract.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
That was pre-new CBA, so pre-2011 CBA. So he got a big contract. What was he, 10th overall?
11th.
11th. Yeah, he got a sizable contract.
I'm
And then Eli, I guess Eli was on a rookie deal in 2007, huh?
he was 04 too. That's right.
But still, I mean, that was the number 3 overall pick. So that was a big contract.
Yeah.
This wasn't like a rookie deal. You almost need to look at it as like a
2008. Big Ben was the first year of his new deal,
mm,
which makes sense.
all right, here we go. July 29, 2004. Manning gets largest bonus ever for a rookie. 6-year, $54 million deal as a rookie. So that's not cost controlled per se, especially with the cap back then. So, and then
Actually, quickly, how much money in 17 seasons do you think Big Ben's earned?
17 seasons, probably like $400 million.
253.
253. Rivers and Eli have made and Big Ben have made quite a bit of money. Quarterbacks drafted in the old CBA have made a ton of money. At any rate, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, so we go back as far as Peyton Manning beating the Bears. So you do lose 3 of those Brady Super Bowls, but yeah, I mean, yes. Here's the other equation that needs to be discussed with this is when you draft a quarterback in the first round, as a front office and a coaching staff and whoever selects him, you're selling to your team, to your fans, and to the owner, your boss, that you can select someone who is good enough that they will turn into a franchise quarterback. And so you would need a very progressive ownership group and a progressive front office and a progressive coaching staff. You would need like Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay or one of those guys who were willing to embrace this idea. And remember, you have to do it over a period of 6 to 9 years where it works, where you churn 2 or 3 quarterbacks in there. And when you do that, you get a quarterback and you coach him for 4 years and you like him, and then you move on before you give him a huge deal. Yes, in the examples of Wentz and Goff, it would have been a smart move and it would have worked out better than it did in real life. But you're kind of taking a plunge blind into the draft, hoping you can nail the next quarterback that you can get. I love the idea. I think it would be ballsy as hell. It would be bold for a team and a franchise to do that and just say, look, we're not beholden to number one quarterback. We're not beholden to this quarterback and this salary cap space. We're going to build a team and we're going to pop in a quarterback we believe can work. But the problem is the NFL is so bad at evaluating quarterbacks.
You know who sort of gamed the system and figured it out? Steve Keim.
He did do that.
Josh Rosen, first round pick.
That was like an insane move to make by the Cardinals at the time.
In his defense, he got a second round pick for Josh Rosen, who went to the Dolphins and just sat there.
And it passed on Nick Bosa. So I guess my answer is that I don't think a team will ever do it because it's too aggressive and too ballsy.
That's right. Teams are historically risk averse because here's what you don't want to happen. You get rid of the guy and he becomes Brett Favre leaving the Falcons. Like that. How do you explain that away? So, they're incredibly hard to find quarterbacks. If you find one who's a B-, again, why do you think Mr. Trubisky played so long in Chicago? There was no plan B that was better than him.
Right. Yeah. Like maybe you draft Trubisky. Then what do you do then? I would also point out too that, on the other side of I think it's we always mention the Super Bowl winners, but you get 2 a Super Bowl. The Chiefs with Mahomes in 2020. I guess he's technically still in his rookie deal, which is crazy, but has signed this big contract. They lose to the Buccaneers. 49ers lose to the Chiefs the year before. They paid Jimmy Garoppolo. Rams lose to the Patriots. They had paid Jared Goff, although maybe he was still in his rookie deal. Brady and Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, Russell Wilson. Russ was still in his rookie deal then. Peyton Manning before that had gotten a huge contract. Kaepernick was on a rookie deal there.
Yep.
Brady, Big Ben. So, the Brady thing is kind of the exception. Peyton Manning, big contract. Cardinals lose to the Steelers. Was that
Kurt Warner?
Right. So big free agent, but not a probably top 15.
Well, he was on the quote unquote downside of his career because he was the backup to Eli Manning in New York.
Yeah, he got ditched by the Giants because Eli was there. And then Rex Grossman and Matt Hasselbeck before that. And then Donovan McNabb when he puked all over himself in that loss to the Patriots.
Shut your.
And I guess we'll just stop there. There's no need to talk about the Panthers. My point being is that, yes.
Jake Delhomme.
Yeah, no, I love Jake Delhomme. In a perfect world, you could churn through these quarterbacks like this on their rookie deals. The problem is it's just
Not a perfect
too risky to actually pull off, I think. It's not too risky to pull off. It is too risky for an NFL. You would need a front office, an ownership group, and a coaching staff, and really a team all on the same page because you're taking the quarterback out and saying, see ya, he's replaceable. Everybody's replaceable. It just requires a lot of buy-in from a lot of different people.
If you're a GM who is like Chris Ballard just signed a long-term deal, and maybe he's an example, although I think it just has to be sort of some hypothetical situation. If you're a GM who has a 10-year deal, then maybe the guaranteed no matter what, then you can do it. But you can't do it when you're Ryan Pace, for example.
Correct. You got to have a lot of job security.
A lot of juice. That's what the kids
right.
call it.
A lot of juice. All right. Next question. But to Jens,
yes,
I love the thinking. And thank you for listening from Denmark.
Yep.
Great debate.
You want to take a break first or not?
We already took a break.
Oh, we did?
This is the last question. The show's about to be over. It's from Glenn Loves Golf. Oh, boy. Via Apple Podcasts. Great debate.
Wait. To be clear, he loves GOLF, not GOFF.
Golf. Golf.
That's right.
Gophers. Golfers. You said they do the Caddyshack thing with the Gophers and the Golfers.
Got it. Yeah. No, that's good.
I love the banter amongst the friends, similar to my circles. I'd love to get your perspective on the following and apologize ahead of time for the lengthy explanation. I've always wondered which professional sport would be the one that is the furthest away from their amateur, weekend athletes, regular guys who play that sport. I don't just mean which is the most difficult sport. I mean the orders of magnitude between, for example, Brinson's thought process in an approach shot to a tight green versus all that's running through, say, Tiger's brain, accounting for so many variables, but also include the athletic skill, prowess, athletic strengths, etc. Or have you ever listened to a Peyton Manning describe a play from 9 years ago where he calls the coverages, the scores, every element of play? No weekend athlete can do that. Well, I'd love to hear your thoughts. P.S. How did you get Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia to do your Bud Light hot take? LOL.
Oh, you just made Brinson's day. He loves to be compared to Charlie. This is a great question. I love this question. So let me ask you, and I'll ask Debo too, because Debo fancies himself a basketball savant. He's quietly in the down low humble brags about how he dunks all over Tommy Tran when they play pickup.
Wow, Tommy Tran heat.
Tommy Tran heat.
Debo said that he dunked the ball on Tommy Tran's face.
And then he pointed at him and then moonwalked.
I think Tommy. So hopefully he's checking this.
So what would
rim?
what would scare you the most? Tee shot at 18 on Augusta on Sunday with all those guys standing, basically 10 foot wide as the fairway goes, as it goes off into the fairway. Like basically, if you hit one, pull one right or left, you're going to kill someone. Like literally kill someone. You have a chance to kill someone. Serving in Wimbledon, like in the final match, doesn't really matter. Why would you be in the finals? But serving in front of the Wimbledon and that sort of pressure, or as Glenn mentioned here, like taking a snap, like an NFL game, like a very important NFL game, like an NFL.
So which one's the most pressure
for you personally? Like, I'm fine taking a snap in an NFC title game. I turn around,
freak it out. I mean, you wouldn't know what to do. Just turn around, and hand it off, right?
Hand the ball off, or you take a knee. I mean, whatever. Call timeout. But and you have to get the serve in. There's to be some consequence. Like, I don't know. They're gonna throw your family off a bridge or something. I don't know. I don't want to get too morbid.
I was trying to tone it down, so I was like, throw your family off a bridge.
Yeah, it's only 10 feet of water down below. It's not that bad. Or like
to the water, or 10 feet of water.
10 feet to the water.
I was like, 10 feet of water off a bridge. They're all dead.
No, it's not a 100-foot bridge with 10-foot water to break the fall. It's like a 4-foot drop into 10-foot water. It's going off the diving board, basically. So the serve, tee shot at Augusta on 18 with the crowds, the patrons, lining both sides of the tee shot, or taking a snap, or maybe kicking a field goal. Maybe you have to do something that requires some skill in football. Field goal, game-winning field goal.
So I think there's an interesting way to frame this question. And like you're saying, like what would make you the most nervous? I think you could say which would be the hardest sport to be a professional athlete in? And then I think the way that he's asking it, the way I took it is, which one is the furthest gap from average Joe's? Not like, I think the answer is golf.
I think it's golf and probably tennis. Like it's the
In
sports
the
that
gap. Because like, you got to remember, there are hundreds, actually thousands, tens of thousands of club pros out there. Guys who are legitimate scratch golfers, really good golfers, and who work at country clubs and would beat our ass. And
Every
those
day of the week.
guys can't sniff what the professional athletes do, what the professional golfers do.
right. And the other thing with those
Do you
sports,
think that's because of like their mental makeup and like not being able to handle pressure? Do you think that's
Yes.
just because the skill's not quite there?
I think it's
all
mental.
of the above. And
I think it's mostly mental.
I
Because
think
they can physically they can do. They're not driving the ball 350. Maybe they're driving the ball 290. I think it's all
there's a
mental.
lot of different components to it. Sure.
See, that's
I
where I
think-
think it's more like once you get to a certain skill level, I think the mental makeup separates people. But I think like their skill that you guys are talking about that are very good in those pros, but they're not quite there as in terms of skill.
I think like if you I mean like the club pro isn't practicing every day, but the guys that are grinding away on the smaller tours, maybe college players that have the physical ability, I think it's mental. I think that's the huge differentiator. Because I would imagine I don't know how many tour cards they give out now. I'm so out of that world, but I mean the last guy to qualify for the PGA Tour and like the best amateur, there's not that much difference between them in terms of skill level.
I think it's hard to like really separate the pressure in different situations. I feel like it's close in a lot of the cases. Like imagine it's not the same, I think, as the golfers in the world, but there's a couple thousand people out there in this country that could hit a 50-yard field goal. But when you have a Super Bowl on the line, how many people can hit a 50-yard field goal? I get bothered in basketball, and this has nothing to do with my affinity for Ben Simmons, the basketball player. But when like people say I can go in my driveway and make 9 out of 10 free throws, great. Like that's awesome. Make it in a crowd of 20,000 people with a game on the line. Like there's
You know who else can make 9 out of 10 in their driveway? Ben Simmons.
right. Like you see that in practice. So for normal everyday people to kind of put themselves in a situation, like 6 times out of 10, Brinson might hit a good shot on 18. But when there's a crowd of spectators there,
I'm putting it in somebody's face.
You
Like,
are
I'm
literally
stone cold shanking it left.
right, we know how much Prisco got in your head that day, like 8 years ago. Like imagine
he was on your team.
Well, again, you're not expecting your teamate to turn on you and start taunting you on every swing. But
That's like Stevie Williams yelling at Tiger Woods in his backswing. You're
Right.
gonna shake this one, sucker.
I mean, the mental stuff is different. I think with basketball, if you're talking about, obviously with basketball, there are physical limitations that you just simply can't overcome. Like,
And I think he would struggle more with the mental free throw with the game of the line like that.
I'm saying that the gap from like your average college player to the average NBA player is maybe not as wide as the gap from your like or.
But I think Glenn's question is to like the average me or you or Debo, not a guy who's played Division I athletes
well,
are
no,
incredible athletes.
I think he's saying so. Like Chris Poole, a buddy of mine who lives in Raleigh, played basketball at Clemson, or Will Roach played.
No, he's saying weekend athletes from the amateur weekend athletes.
But we're not amateur weekend. Like
your
I'm
buddy,
saying that the gap. I'm saying the golf gap to the average golfer versus the basketball gap to the average legitimate basketball player, not like me, is bigger. It's what I'm saying.
would you put yourself in that average golfer category though?
Yeah, I think I'm an average golfer.
Yeah,
that's. I mean, I'm a 16 handicap.
Well, you're saying that the gap between Bryson DeChambeau and you is larger than the gap between LeBron James and Debo. I mean, I don't know. It's probably pretty close. I think
But the gaps, look, regardless of what we're talking about, the gaps are massive.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean,
gap.
right. So
Yeah.
we're talking about, is this a 5,000-mile journey or is this a 5,050-mile journey? It still feels like it's pretty far away.
Right. Maybe. I mean, and then the other question is like, which professional sport would be the hardest to play? That then you take golf out, I think, Because
What
you
do you
could,
take it up?
well,
I think
I'm
golf.
not playing basketball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you're not even right. You're not. But like
You-
you said, you're not even an average weekend basketball player.
Do the example of like Brinson gets a year to practice every sport. Like, which one is he the closest at like being competitive at?
Well,
It's
I mean,
either,
golf
it's either
is
golf
also different because you're going out. You're not playing against other larger human beings.
right.
But you can be
I
respectful.
can go play golf and just get hot and shoot a 78 and, you know, I mean, I'm not making a cut at a PGA event, but I might not finish dead last. I mean, you know, it's very unlikely. I'm not suggesting that would happen. Just
your physical limitations aren't going to be exposed as much in golf as they are in basketball.
right. But again, my buddy Will Roach, who played basketball for, for NC State.
Oh boy.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to think.
He's not an average basketball player. He is one of the best basketball players in the country.
Oh, wait.
He's a walk-on at NC State. I mean, he's a good.
But I mean, he's the top 1% basketball players in this country. 1 out of 100 people, he's probably doing pretty well. That's what I'm saying. Like he's probably the best.
Maybe top 10%.
They're not. I guarantee
1%.
you. Yes, he played Division I basketball.
Okay.
Division II basketball players are really good basketball players. I mean, they're top. They're some of the best basketball players. In the
That's
country.
my point too. Is that there's another massive gap to the actually elite guys.
But you're talking about. You got to keep dialing. We're talking about the weekend guys. You're even talking about guys in their 30s that play in like the old man leagues. Those guys are probably played in high school or college or whatever. We're not talking about your buddy who's 30 years old who can still, dunk on you like it's his job.
Let me say,
Brinson, are you closer to Bryson or Novak Djokovic?
I think
Bryson.
Yeah, I think so. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I had to,
You're as big a jerk as he is, so that makes a lot of sense.
Both of them.
Yeah, Djokovic was talking smack about Biles and then he withdrew. Is that what happened? Someone told me.
yeah, that's
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know if
He's like, you must compete to be best. And then he threw a tantrum and walked away and quit.
That's what someone told me.
And screwed his Olympic partner out of it because he lost in the singles, threw a huge temper tantrum, and then quit the doubles match to screw out his playing partner in the doubles of a potential medal.
All right, so let's take out tennis and golf, which I think are the things that you could practice and have a snowball's chance. But let's say so. There's basketball, there's baseball. We're not going to say football because that's. I mean, you're 40 years old. You can't play football. Basketball, baseball. What other sport can you potentially compete in? That's swimming. Let's do those 3. So you have a year to practice.
Basketball, baseball, and swimming.
Yeah,
baseball.
And you have to be the pitcher in baseball. You're not a hitter.
I mean, I still have a better chance than basketball. Or
you think so?
Like swimming, where you can just like work on your time, and it's kind of just like
smoked in swimming by like Olympic swimmers. I mean,
what about this? We'll also include diving. Yeah. Diving? Do you include diving?
No, there's no chance I'm ever diving.
Okay.
I don't like heights, and I don't like rotating in the air.
Don't like heights. I don't like rotating.
I don't like rotating.
All right. Well, I don't know what to tell you.
I can't dive, so in general,
you guys are too young. Like back in the day, I think I've told this story before. I'll tell it again. We used to go to the local pool, the motel, I'm sure, and do tricks off the diving board to impress the ladies. Like this is like 8th and 9th and 10th grade. Not 10th, 8th and 9th grade.
You say the motel?
Like the local hotel, like the Howard Johnsons or whatever, like they have a pool. We would go hang out, scoping the young ladies and doing
how young were the ladies?
I was 8th or 9th grade, so I'm sure they were 14, 15 years old, So
they were all at the motel too?
Yeah, I'm foggy on the details. Like, why would we go to? Maybe we didn't have like a town pool or something, or maybe that was.
That seems more realistic than a motel.
I can't remember. I'm old. I don't know, but I do remember. My point is that I can still bust out some dive moves if I need to, in a pinch. You guys can't dive. What's the World Cup?
We won't name the writer Brinson, but someone said that hitting a home run would be like the easiest.
Oh, Elliott Shore Park. That was ridiculous. We can name him.
Would it be easier than what are the other options?
This is if you just Google Elliott Shore Park's tweet. I'm sure it's, isn't it? Yeah, Barstool Sports wrote about it. He tweeted, what was it? Where is it? Okay, I could maybe score a touchdown. I could luck into a home run. I could probably get 2 points in an NBA game.
Yeah.
I could play hundreds of games of hockey and never, ever score a goal. It looks impossible. You have to be – see, and I'm not calling him stupid.
If you can't skate, though, if you can't skate, then hockey's off the table.
It's not about that.
Luck into a home run?
Yeah, it's the phrasing luck into a home run.
Oh, yeah. No, you're not lucky.
I could maybe score a touchdown in the NFL level.
No, you couldn't do that.
I could get 2 points. You're not getting 2 points in an NBA game?
So, Debo, I'll put this question to you because I asked this question last year when I was in the fall. I was when I was up there in Stanford. I asked Joe Musso this, former Division III college wide receiver, and Eric Casilius, who was up there, and then the producer, Rob Arciero. And I said to the three of them, and I'll ask you, Debo, you can answer. If you averaged, I think if you played like 3/4 of every NBA game, so what's that, 36 minutes, would you average more than 1.5 points a game? And you can shoot, you can do whatever you want.
I mean, the way I answer this is like, if I feel like they're double covering someone else on the court and I'm completely wide open, yes. But
that's what Joe Musso and Rob said as well, and they're both like you. They're both young people.
If it's man-to-man coverage, then I'm not scoring in an NBA game.
Casilius said absolutely no way is anyone averaging 1.5 points a game in an NBA game playing 36 minutes with the defense, playing some semblance of defense against you.
No,
understanding what your goal is out there.
Yeah, and also they know
they're not going to be like, you're not just a random.
It's not pros versus Joes.
No, but you're not a random terrible player on a fifth NBA. You're not a random terrible fifth starter on an NBA team, and they're like, this guy sucks. We're leaving him alone, letting him shoot whatever he wants. I mean, I do think you could get 2 points in an NBA game.
You could, but you couldn't average over an 82 game season.
Oh, okay. No. Average, no. Let's detract that. Average, no. Over 80 games, make a couple shots because they leave you.
Yeah.
Well, also in this make the score in the NBA game thing, is your team okay with running the offense through
right
chunking it?
That's the other thing that they
came up with. I'm still not sure I don't know. I mean, like,
also,
game season, I'm scoring I'm scoring a 3. I am not averaging 1.5 points per game. There's no chance.
Debo's not getting inside the 3-point arc.
I mean, this is LeBron James, so it's a little different. But when we played, when I played him, I've told the story, right?
Oh God.
I'm not gonna tell the story again. I'm just telling you that, like,
no, I want to hear it again. I love it.
I was in good shape at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You were 2 feet shorter than LeBron James. Go ahead.
No, I mean, and I'm saying that, like, I took off running with a head start, and he just appeared in front of me. Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean. You're not, you're gonna get the ball on the 3-point line, and you're gonna turn and be like, "I've got an open 3. Here's my," and then boom, that thing's gonna get swatted into the stands. What's that?
I got a quick release.
Get out of here, Debo. What are you, Elliot Shore, Deberdanis?
That's what Musso said. And then Musso brought up a clip of Colin Ward Henniger. They played in a charity event when Musso was out west working in Fresno. He said, "Watch this," and he did some reverse layup or something. I said, "I don't think Colin Ward Henniger is an NFL player or an NBA player, that's going to be watching you like drive the lane."
Yeah.
Wilson? What do you think Brinson's 40 time that time he played LeBron was? Like back in those days.
Oh,
it's BS that you guys think my 40 time isn't what it is. It was recorded.
It's probably closer to 6 seconds than it was to whatever 5 seconds.
4.69. 4.96 maybe. 4.96.
You sound like you could lock into a home run.
4.96.
Yeah.
It was filmed and clocked. What do you want? High school coach? What do you want me to do?
When you lucked into the home run, did you run a 4.69 around the bases?
4.96, not 4.69.
How fast did you get to first base? 50 feet, 90 feet, 90 feet.
I'm not saying I'm some incredible athlete or bragging about it. I'm telling you what it was clocked at.
Okay. You didn't run a 4.96. I don't care that it was hand timed. It was hand timed, by the way. But what do you think?
Wasn't electronically timed. No.
Right. Exactly. So what would be the initial knee jerk reaction?
Hasn't Rich Eisen broken 5 seconds?
No. Are you crazy?
I don't know if he's broken 6.
He may have broken 6 like once. I was looking at the times back when he ran it. After the draft this time, I think maybe it's been a lot of 6s.
People ask, it was 5.94 in 2016.
Exactly, and now he ran it. Suit. He did run it in his suit, but you're not a full second faster than him.
I had a lot of wind behind me. I promise you.
Brinson ran a 5.94. He goes, "Wait, does that mean I broke 5 seconds?"
No, I ran a 4.96.
You're going the wrong way, Brinson.
I was
Debo,
surprised by it too.
yeah, because it didn't happen. Debo, so what would be just a knee-jerk reaction if you said to B-Mac or Brady Quinn, hey, Brinson, you just said it like this, Brinson ran a 4.96. What would be their reaction?
You both of their just extreme laughter, I think.
I mean,
Brady's hearty laugh, B-Mac's laugh. Yeah, that's all that's coming out of their mouth.
But you're saying it like I'm running it right now. I'm not running a 4.96 now.
and that should include Danny, because Danny ran in the high 4.6s, he said, at his pro day, and he couldn't believe it. And Danny is 6'5". I don't know what probably 210, 220. I don't know what he weighs now. He's in great shape. Like you
I
ain't
don't
just
think 6'5" necessarily makes you a faster 40.
No, that's the point. Like he was surprised that he ran so fast. You're not running right behind him on a 40.
I mean, longer strides just with the height, but yeah.
I mean, no, but like you're shorter, you run faster. I was as skinny as I've ever been.
Is that? I don't know if that's.
It's not true. Don't. I mean,
Oh,
yeah.
you don't think,
Usain Bolt 6.
No, what do you want from me?
Usain Bolt 6'5".
Go ask
now.
Brodsky for it.
I just don't agree with the shorter strides equals quicker times statement you just made.
Then why don't then? I mean,
How tall is Usain Bolt?
I don't know.
He's 6'5". So,
I mean, I'm
again,
not saying it's a hard and fast rule.
between that and the Seahawks being a real animal, you're 0 for 2 on common sense facts today.
I don't know what to tell you. I ran a 4.96, man.
All right. Well, we'll just agree to disagree. There's 0%, zero.
It
There's
happened, and they posted it online.
there's a better chance of you hitting a left-handed driver 400 yards down the center of the fairway 10 times in a row. There's a better chance you taking 40 hook shots in a row from midcourt and swishing every single one than you ran a 4.96.
Wilson, I didn't know Brinson back that. Like, what would you evaluate like compared to now? What type of like how much more believable was it a decade ago?
Oh, it was totally and wholly unbelievable when he said at the time.
It was not surprising. It wasn't surprising at all. I didn't know what I was going to run. We were racing.
And Debo, what you also have to keep in mind is that 3 or 4 years later, Sean Wagner McGov, self-proclaimed slow person, he said, I'm not very fast, in his mid-20s, absolutely dusted Brinson.
I mean,
in a
drunk
race.
in pants in a barefoot in the Fort Lauderdale streets.
You were wearing shorts. You weren't wearing pants.
Look, I trained. I was running a bunch back then. I trained for this. I had a mustache.
Oh, well, then I take it all back then. You had a mustache.
I ran what I ran. I don't know what to tell you.
That's fine. You can take it up with Jesus when you go at the pearly gates.
I mean, there's video of it probably at CBS.
So you're at the pearly gates, and Jesus says, "Okay, if you tell the truth, you can go to heaven. If not, I'm catapulting you to hell." Did you run a 4.96? What are you going to say?
Yes, I ran a 4.96.
All right. Well, enjoy hell.
No, I don't have player plug.
Exactly the same tone. All right. Well, I'm just sad that
I'm not saying I run it now. I'm not saying that I was even.
And that's the beauty of this. Like it's 10 years later, so you can say, "Well, yeah, I run a 5.8 now," but back then,
I don't think I'd crack 6 right now.
Of course, you can't. You didn't then.
It's been 10 years. That's a long ass time.
As a 30-year-old,
somehow we're still podcasting together.
Think about this.
Yeah, I don't like. I'm the same age now as you were when you ran that.
And Debo's probably in better shape now than you were 10 years ago.
Did you say I don't know if I could do that?
He's trying to be polite.
No, I could not. I'm not hitting sub 5 right now.
Well, you're no Will Brinson. That's the takeaway.
Pretty much. All right. That is the show.
Dang it.
Bunch of me being called a liar today. Huh?
Love it.
Golly. Guy can't just tell true stories.
Well, you had your chance.
The mailbag. We'll be back on Sunday night / Monday morning for a preseason recap for Ryan and Debo. I'm 4.96. See you guys later.